it turned out that even though there is an international standard for disclosure in security issuance set by the IOSCO, which is the international organization of securities regulators. Funny enough, most of the ASEAN countries in the past have set requirements way above the international practice. And the reason was because I think regulators in the ASEAN countries in the past had felt that their investors are not well educated enough, not sophisticated enough, so they needed to give more information to make the accounting information more updated, and go into more detail than what is the normal practice. But we had discussed and we thought this is definitely a hindrance. If we want eventually for the company that wants to tap money from all the ASEAN countries in one go, issue shares in all the countries at once, to use the same set of documents, what is called a single passport. And to do that, in order to do that, we have to work with each country to reduce these requirements, down to the international standard or close to it. So the way we did was we set among ourselves what is called the ASEAN standards. That was very close to the international standard. But we also allow the plus. So we allow some countries, to still maintain some plus, because certain countries say this is required by their law and whatnot. But we are also, over time working, trying to reduce these pluses so that everybody, comes down to the same level of requirements.
Just so that the audience will get a better understanding here, we've got two standards. We've got the ASEAN standard, which has been lowered, and we've got the plus standards. Can you give us an example of the plus standards and which countries would still abide by these plus standards?
For example, say suppose most countries require the issuance of the accounts to the public within, say, 60 days. But if one country say, no, we want it to be
more than 60 days.
No, quicker than 60 days.
Quicker.
Say, for example, 45 days. That is going to be, to pose a problem. Because everybody else is working on a timeline of 60 days, for example. That kind of thing, can act as a barrier.
I see. All right, now let's move on to the collective investment schemes here. What is that all about? The CIS, once again, the collective investment schemes, which will make things a bit more easier, won't it? Because borders will be non-existent.
Well, these collective investment schemes are the mutual funds. The mutual funds that in all the individual ASEAN countries, they already exist. There are a lot of companies that make package together mutual funds to sell to the local investors. What we are looking at is that we want this to go across borders. So the mutual fund structured in one country should be able to be offered for sale in all the countries, without having to reapply for authorization again, right? And right here also, we had found it to be more challenging than we thought. It turns out that the way the law is structured in some countries would require it to be done in certain ways that is now preventing these products from going across border easily. So we split the time frame into two. The first products that we will allow to go across border more easily would be products for sale to the non-retail investors. So products to sell, to the mutual funds themselves, for products to sell to pension funds, products to sell to banks, or people with high net worth. These will be made more easy more quickly. And then the second step would be to offer the mutual funds to the retail level.
ASEAN exchange linkage, what is this?
Well, this is an idea, that we should, well, the exchanges, the stock exchanges of various countries came up with this idea in that they wanted anyone who access stock markets in the ASEAN countries through the electronic means should be able to see all these countries in the same screen format and switch from one country to another at just one click. So they had decided to come together, and they have now gone through the stage of designing this format, and also I think they have now selected a vendor in order to develop the software. It will enable the investors both outside as well as within ASEAN itself, to go from one market to another much more conveniently. And the experience in the past, of the groups of countries that have done similar things in the Nordic countries, the liquidity, of the market went up quite substantially.
Right. Now the ACMF, it is to, it's just a plan there well, it's not just a plan, it's a very important plan that will lead to the AEC, the ASEAN Economic Community, by the year 2015. Along the way, there are hiccups, there are obstacles and challenges, etc. And also along the way, there is issues, bilateral issues and other problems and whatnot. In your opinion, will the AEC be achieved, be accomplished by the year 2015?
Well, the achievement of the AEC itself by the year 2015, I think, was already committed to, by the leaders. So we must hold up our hope. But the components, because when you link up the whole economy, it is split into various components. The component of the capital market itself, I think we have a clear plan going forward, and the plan is moving along. We have a way to monitor. We have a way to report to the ministers, any progress or any lack of progress, so that people who have the political power will be able to step in and help to solve these problems in each of the important stages and milestones. So I'm optimistic.
You're optimistic. Now, of all the other challenges out there before 2015, in your opinion, what issue has to be addressed first of all, most imperative one? Well,
we have a timeline, for things to be done. But if you ask me what is perhaps the most difficult things to do, this might be to convince people who are in the business, in the securities business, that this is good for you. Because, the more you open up, the more you lift barriers, the more you allow business to go across borders, the more competition there will be. So it will force the securities companies to have to rethink, their plan way ahead, whether they want to, expand and become big, or play a niche market, or link up with, foreign strategic partners. This will be an interesting time to them, and I recommend them to plan ahead as early as possible.
Thank you so very much for coming in to disseminate knowledge and information regarding the ASEAN Capital Markets integration, plus the ASEAN Capital Market Forum that we will be seeing very shortly in March 7th, that is in Malaysia. And perhaps maybe you could come back to tell us, share with us further on the development so far after that forum. Thank you very much, Kun Thirachai. And that's going to wrap up our program today. Thank you as well for joining us. I'm Pachuri Raksa Wong. It's goodbye for now. Sawadee ka.